Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Brought to you by Blue Sky Business Consulting. We discuss 5 questions in about 15 minutes. Hello, and welcome again, everyone, to the Team Engagement Podcast. We're always excited having you join us, and especially, we always look forward to our guest every week. And today, this is Shaun Mader. He is the founder and creator of Teamware. And Shaun, thank you, first of all, for taking time to be on the podcast with us. But tell us a little bit more about Teamware and what that's all about.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Great to speak with another Shaun. And
It's a good name, right?
Yeah, somebody did right.
That's right.
So Teamware is something we developed that it's a bit of a cheeky reference to our ways of handling software and hardware. We're really good at optimizing for that. But when it comes to our teams, we don't really have an answer. We let leaders figure it out along the way. We give a little trainings here and there. But what we found missing time and time again is people don't actually function like a team, like they would in sports. So we created a system that both provides a leader a system for cultivating higher quality thinking, trust, and high performance in their team members, while also giving them a window into what's going on with each team member so that collectively the leader and the team members can get upstream and get out of that reactive mode that drives so much stress and confusion and all of those friction points that people struggle with.
Oh, yeah, that's great because it is such a difficult hurdle to get over when you're always in reactive mode. I like that. That's a great approach. Good. Well, I wish you luck with all of that because it's badly needed in just about all companies, regardless of the size. There's always going to be a team environment of some kind, and working together as a team and reducing as much friction as possible. Very important. Love that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started with our questions then. So, Shaun, question number 1, how can leaders create a psychologically safe environment?
Well, you don't need to convince me that psychological safety and trust is imperative. That's one of our dimensions of Teamware, is
I'm
that
sure,
trust
yes.
foundation, right? I think what happens a lot of time for leaders is they get put into a position and there's a lot of pressure to be the leader. And oftentimes that has the side effect of needing to present like you know everything, or you're supposed to know everything and have the answers. And that right there can be the biggest enemy of creating psychological security. Because sometimes the leader's so preoccupied with how they're doing, they don't realize they've been modeling behavior to the rest of the team. So if you think you're supposed to have all the answers, then what do your team members think? They're like, oh, I'm supposed to have all the answers.
Right.
So you may instantaneously or unintentionally create that environment where people feel a similar pressure to perform. And that means that people don't feel safe to make mistakes, to say, I don't know, to make a mistake and learn from it, or to experiment and iterate. So when the leader can give up that pretense of, I'm supposed to know all the answers, I have to look like the leader, and the leader can start to say, I'm not sure, let's take a look at this. Or, you know what, I'm good at some things, but I think you're better at this. What would you do? Or sharing like, hey, I thought we were going to do great on this campaign and it totally flopped. I'm taking a look at what happened and here's what I learned. That's the kind of modeling that gives the rest of the team members some space to not have to be perfect all the time, not worry that, the sword is going to fall on their head if they make a mistake, that, oh my God, I got to be like my leader, that he or she knows everything. I have to present that way. So the first starting point is, what is the leader doing and doing automatically that may be transmitting the norms for the team that might actually be restricting their ability to have any psychological security.
Oh, it's such a great insight because it is tough to be the leader and to feel that pressure, whether it's self-imposed or external, either way, to feel that pressure to always have the answers and to always be right and never make a mistake, all of those kinds of things. And you're right. That's a great insight that we unintentionally project that onto our team when we carry that with us. And it's a tough thing to have to kind of manage and overcome. So love that insight. All right. Question number 2. Now, certainly, Shaun, you've had a lot of people, all of us have. We've had a lot of people that have influenced us in our lives, mostly for good. When you think about those people that have influenced you and have had a positive impact in your life, what's one word that you might use to describe that person or persons?
I think I'm going to take a slightly different approach to the answer. It's a quality that they have.
Great.
And this might sound a little odd, but I'm going to say the quality is that there's spaciousness around the person.
Oh, very good. I can't wait to hear more. So tell us a little bit more about
Yeah, yeah.
spaciousness.
Like it's an overused term. I think we hear like holding space, but
Hmm.
there's certain people, and they can be very laser focused, and they can be very high performers, but there's room around them to be open, to be
Mm.
honest, to ask something, to get great insight from them. Like they're actually listening in a way that you know that they're actually listening to you deeply.
Mhm,
And there's a certain
mhm.
spaciousness around them. And I've seen it in people who are incredibly high performers. It's brilliant because you feel secure with them. Like I can be my best because this person's got me. And there's space around them where I don't feel like I'm suddenly having to, stand at attention like I'm some soldier on a team. But they also call me to be better than I would on my own. And for me, that's one of the most important qualities of a leader.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that word spaciousness. And thank you for providing some definition and context to it. So for all the viewers and subscribers out there, when they're thinking of spaciousness and how they can, basically employ that as a leader, I think that's a great quality because that is what we want to try to accomplish as leaders is to create that space around us where people can step in a little bit. People can step in as the leader, you're allowing them to be who they are, but you're still providing some constructive feedback, whatever it is, to help them to be even better. So I think that's a great word, spaciousness. Okay. Question number 3. How can leaders cultivate a growth mindset? And this could be either for themselves as the leader, or maybe it's for the entire team. How do you cultivate a growth mindset?
I think I might go back to that first question, which is how do you create that psychological security? So, um, actually, maybe the first step on this is to appreciate that the growth mindset is actually a relatively new term.
Yes.
In the leadership space, it's probably pretty well accepted, and we all use that term pretty interchangeably. But for a lot of people, they really don't think you are as malleable as you are.
Right.
Or let me put that a different way. Some people do have a fixed mindset. They think that things just are the way they are, that they are the way they are, or that person that they might have a complaint about is the way that they are, and
Yes.
that's just how it is. So when I think of it from a leadership perspective, we have to be really rigorous about the judgments and the kind of constraints that we have in our listening of the other people on our teams. Because if I've got an opinion about you that, Shawn Richards, he's just like this. He's always doing this. You could be the most amazing person and I wouldn't see it
Wouldn't see it.
because I've
Yep.
got you boxed in.
Yep.
So first, there's an aspect of growth mindset for the leader that has to consistently be vigilant about where am I limiting other people's growth through my views, my language, the way I'm actually listening to what they're saying,
Hmm.
and being really sensitive to how people speak and how they frame things up. Do they have a growth mindset and being able to introduce new opportunities, new possibilities? Sometimes it's the gentle pushback, like, oh, what else could we do here?
Yes.
When
Yes.
somebody's really locked in. And sometimes it's just those nudges that are so there's
Mhm.
the subtle way. And then there really is like, we're dealing with the AI coming at us 1,000 miles an hour. Like people do need to be engaged in what does it look like to
Mhm.
adapt and revise your mental models and try new things and take some experiments. What does it look like to go play around with this without knowing how it's going to go? But when you can capture all of that underneath the conversation that we are going to grow from this versus we're fighting a war. Oh, or we're just fighting for our survival. That
Right.
language has a real contextual power to shape how everybody shows up and what they see as possible and what they see as impossible.
Oh, I really like that. So many good little nuggets in there that you talked about, whether it's the leader needing to kind of always be willing to let people grow and to look at them in a different way and not box them in, but also what you said there at the very end about being willing to accept that there are going to be some setbacks once in a while and we can use those as growth opportunities. And as you were talking about that, we talk a lot about risk management and some of those things. And I believe that part of the risk management aspect of all of this is to simply understand, look, we can mitigate risk, but we cannot eliminate it. But let's do the best we can to be in a mindset and in a growth mindset that no matter what happens, we can overcome it. We can figure it out. And that's really such a key component. So I loved what you said. I think there's just so many different aspects to this idea of growth mindset that it's really helpful and pertinent for leaders. So great comments. All right, question number 4. It's kind of like growth mindset where it's a fairly new term. We have another term that's fairly new in our society, and that's emotional well-being. Leaders go through a
Mhm.
lot. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure. What can managers and leaders do to really help manage their own emotional wellness?
This one's very close to me. I'm somebody who suffered from chronic pain and migraines for many years. I had given up on doctors or they had given up on me. I'm not sure which. We did every test, we did everything, and yet I had persistent musculoskeletal pain
Wow.
and migraines and brain fog that I could not get rid of. Um, I'm on the other side of that now. And so what I had to go through all over all those years really drew my attention down to something called the somatic layer of experience. So if anybody's ever heard of books like, The Body Always Keeps the Score,
Mm,
like all of our emotions and all of the mental stress gets put into our bodies. It shows up in muscle tightness or your back's going out or spasming. And it sounds a little woo woo when you start, when you first introduce that idea until usually you have some catastrophic thing. And that's where you'll find people who have a very life changing experience where they really discover it. So, what does that mean in the short term for people? There's a way to tune into the body. There's many modalities out there. There's breath work, there's
mhm.
mindfulness, there's yoga. Some people just find really getting some physical activity, a long walk, just getting circulation through the body has a really great way of mitigating some of that. But for a leader, I think there's one more layer, which is really developing the emotional awareness and the self-awareness because we swim in a sea of interactions that is triggering stuff from, our childhood, from our adolescence.
Yes.
There's ways that we all have been wired up over time to react when some insecurity gets triggered, where we compensate or we defend or we justify. And if you're going to be effective as a leader, you better get good at mastering all of that
Right.
because it allows you to intervene with yourself in those moments so that you can turn conflicts into new ideas and more productive outcomes. But it's also directly tied to the degree to which you're going to suffer at the somatic level.
Hmm.
So for me, I kind of come at it from both sides. I have to be the
Yeah.
master of my inner world. And I have a lot of these external modalities that I can use to help mitigate and buffer and keep a center. I really, I sometimes will be like, I need to go do a bunch of yoga and I need to go turn off my devices. I'm going to read and I'm going to do this because I got a little bit twisted up this week,
Yeah.
or I've been running hard for the last month and I feel like I'm running on caffeine and notifications and I've lost my center. What do I
Yeah.
need to do?
It happens.
So, so I think for a lot of people who don't have that background, I spent years bouncing. I was in ashrams, living in, like a monk in India for periods of time and doing whatever it took for me to get out of my problems. But if you're looking for a starting point, there's a lot of meditations online. There's breath work. There's things that you can do to start to tap in and feel your body instead of all of our devices and everything that takes us away from ourselves. And no. no effort is ever lost in that pursuit. So you
Oh, I
can
think
be
that's
a
great.
beginner to somebody who wants mastery or wants to go do a 10-day silent meditation, like go do it. Any effort is going to be beneficial.
Very good. Yeah, great thoughts, great ideas on how we can manage our emotional well-being, because that is such an important topic. And it's really not just for leaders, it's for everybody. But of course, this is a leadership podcast. And so we're talking with leadership experts, and they have been through the trenches. And so for those emerging leaders that are just getting started, if you haven't experienced it already, you will. And that's part of the reason why we talk about these things, is to really help create that awareness that, yeah, there's going to be some emotional wear and tear, but you can handle it. And this is how. These are some ideas on how you can manage that. Great thoughts, Shaun. Welcome. That's just welcomed those ideas a lot. It's always something that's important to me. All right, last question, kind of a fun question to end the podcast on. Tell us a little bit about your first job.
I think I was ambitious as a child, or I just had parents who made me earn whatever I wanted to get.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to have some neighbors let me ruin their lawns when I was about 10 years old. With lawn mowing and snow shoveling. The snow shoveling probably didn't do as much damage, but I think back now, and they must have thought I was enterprising enough to let me carve up their lawns with a lawnmower that was too big. And then the second I turned 12, I got the morning paper route, and I had that all the way through high school. So yeah, a lot of my early jobs were right there in my own neighborhood,
Yeah.
getting really good, knowing every single house. And I never thought of myself as entrepreneurial, but I look back, I'm like, I guess 10 years old was
It
pretty good
starts
age to
there.
start.
Sure. You and I have similar paths. I was also a lawnmower and paper carrier. So
Wow, I
it
don't think they
was
have those anymore.
that, I don't think they do either. It's kind of a sad thing that I never would have guessed that a paper carrier was something that would die out, but here we are.
Yeah,
So
I know, it's wild. And we don't know the joys of getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
mine was after school, so it was perfect.
Oh,
I
you,
just
I envy the ones with the afternoon paper routes. I got, all I
it
could
was
get was the
great.
morning one.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Well, Shaun, thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon, or this today, it's afternoon as we're recording this, at least. But thank you so much for sharing your insights as well. Very much appreciated, and I'm confident that everything that you shared will be of great benefit to all of our viewers, listeners, subscribers, whatever it may be. So, thank you for joining us. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, yes, thank you. LinkedIn's always great. SHAUN, different than this, Shaun.
Yes,
SHAUNMADER. I'm on LinkedIn. Also, Get Teamware. If anybody wants to find out a little bit more, that's got a free guide you can download. And Shaun at getteamware.com if anybody wants to reach out.
fantastic. Thank you again. And thanks to all of you who are joining us every week. We encourage you to subscribe and join us every week for more information on how we can become more effective leaders. Again, my name is Shawn Richards, your host. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. This is Shawn Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Be sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And for more leadership tips, pick up your copy of Rapid Fire Leadership by going to rapidfireleadership.com, where you can also download free resources to help you in your leadership role. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.